Now, back to Access Tech Live, the latest in tech and accessibility with Steven Scott and Marc Aflalo.
And we're back on Access Tech Live. I'm Steven Scott. Marc Aflalo is with me. He is in Toronto this week and in the studios at AMI HQ. And Marc, you're not alone.
No, I'm not. We figured, I'm in Toronto. Why not bring in some people who are in Toronto as well? And one of those people is Ramya Amuthan, who is the co-host of Kelly and Ramya, of course, weekday afternoons on AMI TV. And she's also the real reason she's here, obviously not because she's a big star there, but because she's the co-host of the Audiobook Review, an incredible AMI original podcast that you can find on all your podcast providers, Steven. And someone else is joining us.
That's right. You're not alone either. I'm not alone either, because here in the virtual world, I have Jacob Shymanski with me. He is also co-host of AMI's Audiobook Review. Great to have you along for the ride as well, Jacob.
Hey, thanks for having me. Let's do this.
Absolutely. Now, Ramya, you know each other, right? You guys, Jacob, you've met, right?
Yeah. We're actually in the same offices right now, right? Jacob, you're at AMI.
He's hiding in a room.
I sure am. Just a couple of meters away from you.
Okay, cool.
Oh, and didn't want to come in the studio. Okay, that's fine. We'll just leave that. We'll just park that.
We didn't let him.
Okay, let's just not go there. Right. So let's talk about audiobooks. Ramya, I'll start with you. Tell me your sort of take on audiobooks, the state of audiobooks at the moment, because for me it seems like there are so much more audiobooks available than ever. Is that your take
of course.
on this?
Yeah, there are so much more audiobooks available than ever before, which is obviously why we're super excited and decided, a weekly pod is the perfect way to continue talking about everything and anything that people want to cover in regards to audiobooks. Like, we're not just saying there are audiobooks out there, go check it out. We're saying, and how do you listen to your audiobooks? And what are your habits around audiobooks? And are you a convert to audiobooks? And are you exclusively audiobooks? Like, literally the conversations are everywhere. And I'm not just having it with people who are blind or have low vision anymore, Steven. The convo is with everybody and anybody. The amount of people that we've had on the podcast up to now, which is in its season 3, like 125 episodes, people who are sighted who just exclusively say they listen only to audiobooks.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that, Jacob, because Jacob as well, I want to bring you onto this because I do think about this a lot. I think about, the value of audiobooks to people who are blind. It seems obvious, right? I mean, that's kind of where audiobooks came from, right? That's how they came to life. But they do, of course, benefit many sighted people. But what about other disabled people? Because there's lots of reasons, I think, why people may choose audiobooks as a way of enjoying audiobooks. Is that right, Jacob?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Like, nowadays, it's unthinkable for authors to put out a book and have it not be available as an audiobook. And when it comes to people with other disabilities, yeah, absolutely. There's all sorts of cognitive disabilities that would make it very difficult to just hold a traditional, just to like interpret a book properly, and just physical disabilities that make it difficult to physically hold a book up for a very long time. And dyslexia, like, sure, you can read for a little bit, but it's very difficult after a while. So, yeah, it goes a long way to be helping out a bunch of people.
So my son has autism, and my son's doctor suggested that he get into audiobooks as a way, because it works the same part of your brain. Yeah. And that's something that I didn't realize, is that reading a book, we always know that everybody says, it's important to read books and consume that, but it's working a part of your brain. It's actually helping you. I didn't realize that audiobooks did the exact same thing. And it's cool to see how it's being used across it. And not only, as you said, low vision. I'm curious, the accessibility of it, meaning the access to audiobooks, whether it be on our devices, or Steven, I know you use the Victor, the reader. Do you think that has lent to the popularity of them, just because people have more and more ways that they already have, like their phone, to just be able to listen to them?
Yeah, I guess it depends how lazy you are. I mean, Steven, when you say you have a Victor reader, I'm thinking, damn, an actual device for audiobook listening? That's proper. I was so lazy with my audiobooks that even when CNIB back in the day was sending me physical books, Daisy CDs, discs of books, I was like, but then I have to take it and then put it in my device. But now, on my smartphone, I just go into Audible or go into Sela, hit download, and it's there. It's in my bookshelf. It's ready to go. Even the speed and the setup is already good for me. So I can consume so much more now simply because it's available to me the way I need it and as quickly as I need it.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I've been talking about this on my Double Tap show. I've got this Victor Reader Stream 3rd generation, the very latest, guys,
Nice.
Obviously. They didn't send it to me, by the way. I had to buy this with my own money. Just
Oh my God.
I
The
know.
first piece of tech he's bought.
Shocking. Do we have a breaking news thing here, honestly? But you know, it was really interesting because I decided to go down this route because I wanted easier access to those books. And what I mean by that is I wanted to be able to, and this is the joy of the Victor Reader, it has physical buttons, it has a physical keypad. So being able to navigate chapters and all of that is much easier. Now, of course, the other benefit of using a device over, say, a smartphone is the ability to not get notifications. I don't have Mark calling me every 5 minutes on my Victor Reader Stream 3rd gen, right? It's cool. So cool. But, you know, that's the thing, right? Dedicated tech can really make the difference. I want to ask you both a question, though, about reading. I've had this leveled at me before. Audiobooks is not really reading. I've had this leveled at me a few times. Ramya, your take.
Oh, am I going first? I wanted Jacob to go first, especially because Mark kind of chimed in on this already, that it works the same part of your brain. Jay.
I think we're arguing semantics at this point. Is it reading? Well, it depends how you define reading. Is reading the act of translating visual print with your brain using your eyes? Or is it your brain interpreting text, the words on the page? It really depends how you interpret the word reading. But when you're listening to an audiobook, it's important to realize that it's the exact same words that it would be if it was on the page. And in that sense, what's the difference? You're consuming the exact same words.
Okay, I disagree very much. Okay, and the reason why is when you're consuming an audiobook, you're consuming a product that has already been translated. Somebody else has read these words and they've performed them out to us, and now we're consuming their interpretation of, right? This is, being read already, and now it's being told to us. It's kind of, I akin it to storytelling, listening to stories, even though that's not the case all the time. Like, we're taking in textbooks this way. We're using screen readers on a regular basis. So it is just audio feedback. But, put all that aside for my argument's sake and say we're consuming an already produced product versus when we're reading Braille or visually reading print, there's less between us and the print, less between our cognitive process of these words and the print that's out there. And I think that's why we argue about grammar and, are we understanding language when we take in screen reader or audiobooks? Are we getting in all that stuff? I don't think so, guys. I think it cuts off a reasonable percentage doing it this way.
But I've heard audiobooks that are just straight read, obviously right off the pages, verbatim. But I've heard audiobooks that are produced almost like a podcast.
Right.
So at what point is it a performance versus just a straight representation of a book?
I mean, even if it's minimal, it's still a performance. Like, if you're reading the headlines to us versus me going on news and reading the headlines myself, I think that there's some difference in interpretation here.
Interesting. Okay.
Well, I think the word interpretation is a bit of an overstatement.
Probably.
Because it's not like they're completely changing the meaning of the words.
Right.
It's like what really matters is the words on the page and what they're trying to say. Like, I don't think a person reading out the text is going to change the message all that much.
Not the message.
I would say,
Is that
though,
not what matters?
There's something about all this, though, which is quite interesting, because I'm with you on this a little bit more, Rami, if I'm honest, because I recently watched a TV series where there was a book version that I decided to go and listen to. And the book just felt so different and so weird to listen to in comparison to the TV show.
Right.
Because the TV show, those characters, those voices, they became those people became embedded in your mind, and it sounded so different on the other side. Absolutely. And I just thought, this has changed the book for me. This has changed the whole thing. Whereas if I was reading it with my own fingers or reading it, in another way, if I could read large print as a low vision person, then I would certainly, I think, take it in a bit differently. You would add your own character to it. You would bring your own character to it, which I think is what you're suggesting. Yeah,
like, how we always talk about this, right? We go to TV and they've already made it happen for you. You don't have to use your imagination anymore. They've literally taken the words and made a visual interpretation of it, and now we're just taking in that. idea of the Harry Potter world or whatever. But then you take it one step back and you go listen to Jim Dale or Stephen Fry narrating the audiobook, and you can kind of imagine things like the words and the images you got to imagine, but this person's already created the character voices for you. So the voices that you're hearing are not ones that you've developed in your head about what you think Harry sounds like, but actually the way that this person has performed it.
Well, what you see in your mind's eye when you're listening to an audiobook is a lot more than just the voices of the characters.
It's true.
And the way they're saying out those words. Like there's the world and the visual way that
Yes.
things are described, right? Like it's a lot more than just the voices.
I guess
Yeah.
it also comes down to the type of content you're consuming, right?
Definitely.
Because
Yes,
if you're
yeah,
listening to a
absolutely.
business, Gary Vaynerchuk or somebody talking about his business perspective, if it's in his voice and it's just storytelling or just kind of advice, it's different than a story like a Harry Potter that is completely, a fantasy world. You're almost saying that an audiobook is akin to watching a movie versus reading the book.
Close, or like a halfway between. But also, just to add one more thing in here, if you are reading, let's say, a business textbook, or picking up a book that's very, very straight read and straight content, like informative, I think that an audiobook has the power to put you on or put you off a topic, depending on how a person read it, which might not be that impressionable if you pick up the text version of a book and have a screen reader read it to you.
Honestly, Ramya, I am 100% with you on that. There's nothing worse than a terrible narrator. Honestly, there are books I have just turned off because it starts off, in the 1900s, this thing happened, and you think, I just can't deal with this. I
forget
can't deal
it.
with this.
You don't know if you'd ever have liked the book.
So I guess we're all,
I know, it could have been brilliant.
We're all agreeing to disagree here on certain aspects of it, but that's fine.
Yeah.
So let me
That's
take
the
the
idea.
conversation in a different direction after a break. I'm going to pose a little quiz to everybody here. I'm the only one who knows the answers, so do stick around. We have a wonderful guest with us, Ramya, Amuthan, and Jacob Shymanski. When we come back, I'm going to put you all to the test and ask you the question whether you think AI voices can replace humans. Stick around. It's Access Tech Live.
There's more Access Tech Live to come. Get involved and have your say at Access Tech Live on social media. We'll be right back. Now, back to Access Tech Live, the latest in tech and accessibility with Steven Scott and Marc Aflalo.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Access Tech Live. Now, this week we are talking all about audiobooks, and it's such an interesting topic, right? Because there's so much you can talk about. We just had a fantastic debate on the subject of audiobooks. Is it really reading, Mark? That question I think we could do the whole hour on. But we're going to talk about AI, artificial intelligence in audiobooks. And I'm a bit confused here because you seem to have a quiz.
I do.
You've created
Yes,
a
of course.
quiz. Is this because you've had far too much time in your hotel room?
You know, that's what happens when you're stuck in a hotel room for 5 hours. You forget to eat. You decide, let's do some things. Let's have some fun with some people around here, including you, Steven. And this is what's going to happen here, okay? A very simple question. I'm going to play an audio clip, and you're going to tell me at the end of the audio clip, each of you can take your turns. No fighting here, okay? Whether you think this clip
I can't promise that.
Whether you think the clip that you're hearing is AI or it's a human being. I'm not telling you the answers till the very end. So we will start with someone by the name of Grace. Let's hear that sample now.
There were doors all round the hall, but they were all locked. And when Alice had been all the way down one side and up the other, trying every door, she walked sadly down the middle, wondering how she was ever to get out again.
Okay, so that's Grace. Ramya, you're next to me. Do you think that is a human being or do you think that is AI? Someone keep score, please, okay?
Okay, I think it's a human being. Are we allowed to listen twice?
We could listen twice again, but Jacob, do you want to hear it again?
Yeah, let's hear it again, please.
Okay, let's roll Grace again if we can. If you need me to stall, I can do that too. Here we go.
There were doors all round the hall, but they were all locked. And when Alice had been all the way down one side and up the other, trying every door, she walked sadly down the middle, wondering how she was ever to get out again.
I think I'm hearing a different mic position. I'm going to say human.
Okay, so Ramya goes human. Jacob, you are a guest as well.
Yeah.
You can.
I'm hearing the same thing, like a bit of reverb at some points,
Right.
and she seems to have a bit of a southern drawl at points. So I'm gonna say human, but I'm really scared that I'm wrong.
I know.
So I really don't want to be wrong.
Stephen Scott, you do not know the answers. What do you think, human or AI?
I have no idea of the answers. I think it's AI.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. So this is fine. Let's move on. Let's move on to Charlotte. Okay. Charlotte has a wonderful sample. By the way, this is all from Alice the Looking Glass, if you haven't figured that out. A nice royalty-free book that we can use. Let's roll Charlotte, shall we?
Suddenly she came upon a little three-legged table, all made of solid glass. There was nothing on it but a tiny golden key, and Alice's first idea was that this might belong to one of the doors of the hall. But alas, either the locks were too large or the key was too small, but at any rate it would not open any of them.
Well, that's a tough one.
Human.
Oh, that's human. Okay, Ramya says human.
Oh, really?
Okay.
I think so.
Okay, Jacob?
I agree. That's a human too.
Okay,
Yeah.
Stephen?
Actually, I'm listening for AI. That's the problem. I'm listening for any quirks.
I know.
I hope everybody is keeping track here because I have no idea what you guys have answered. But so far, okay, human. And the control room, I'm sure they're wondering.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this one sounds
I'm
more
saying
human than
human.
the first one, so I'm
Okay,
thinking
so
now the
we're
first
going
one's
with human
AI.
across the board here. Okay. Okay, here's the last one. I decided to throw a male in there. This is Adam. Let's listen to Adam right now, everybody.
There seemed to be no use in waiting by the little door, so she went back to the table, half hoping she might find another key on it, or at any rate a book of rules for shutting people up like telescopes. This time, she found a little bottle on it, which certainly was not here before, said Alice, and tied round the neck of the bottle was a paper label with the words, "Drink me," beautifully printed on it in large letters.
Okay. Okay, so my
Easy.
final answers are human, human, AI.
Human, human, AI. Okay, Jacob?
Yeah, last one is AI, because if this person is a human, then he's the most prolific voiceover artist of all time. I hear this guy's voice on
these
TikTok
breaths,
every
though.
day.
Do you?
Oh,
Okay.
no, it's not
I know
that
that
guy.
guy's voice.
Okay.
It's
It's
an
not
AI
him.
voice. I know it.
It's
It's
not
him.
the
It's
TikTok
that
dude.
guy.
Yeah,
It's
no,
not.
you're absolutely right. It is 100% AI on that one.
Okay. So that's what you guys think, right?
Yeah.
Every single one of those was AI.
What?
Every single one of
I
those.
knew this. I
was
knew
AI.
that was going to be the answer. I had a feeling this was a
I'm
trap.
hearing the laughter of the control room behind me.
Superhuman
So
sounding second one.
This is, a year ago, we
Charlotte.
probably would have said, no way could AI replace a human being and read an audiobook. But you just answered that question in that little quiz. Stephen, thoughts?
It does go to show, right? I mean, we're listening up because when you use a screen reader, you get used to nuances and ways that the robot talks. But it goes to show how it is becoming so difficult to tell the difference. Now, over a period of time, I think that would emerge. This is me getting out of it. Over a period of time, you would pick up on, that wasn't a long enough sample. I mean, if you'd listened to an hour long, I would have picked up on that.
There was so much dimension. There's so much dimension, especially in the first one. You could hear them kind of moving positions and mic or whatever. Like
breathing. There's breathing in there in certain ones of them too.
There's, vocal fry here, but not there. There's, no, definitely.
No, but Jacob's on my side, guys.
Of course, my wife's got every single one of them. She's like AI, AI, AI. I'm like, really? I'm like, I tried to make this as hard as possible.
And you picked such different production value too.
Yeah, no, I went for different excerpts from the book to make it different and make sure they weren't the same. And you even listened to that first one twice, and you still.
What I want to hear.
Yeah.
What I want to hear is it doing a dialogue between two fictional characters.
Oh,
that's a challenge. See, it's not gonna. Is it going to be able to imitate, do voice this thing more dynamic? Yeah, exactly. Can it imitate emotion, anger, sadness, sarcasm? Can it do that?
It is interesting because that is starting to happen. There is a company at the moment working on this where they're actually building radio drama type productions with these kind of voices, and they're adding in all kinds of level of emotion. So, for example, let's say it's a couple in a car, they're having an argument, and one's getting a little bit louder, one's getting louder, and suddenly it's getting shrieking and all this. They're actually able to bring all that in, literally just on a waveform on a piece of software, just saying dial up the shrieking or whatever. But they do it in such a way that it'd be very hard to tell the difference between it and a produced audio drama. Ramya, I want to ask you, coming into this, before we listened to those clips, before we found out the answers to that, do you think you would have sat down and listened to a book with AI, and having heard what you've heard, do you change your mind? Would you change your mind?
Change my mind about if I like it?
if you would do it,
could you Would you
I think
listen
I
to
could. Yeah, no, definitely. I do agree with Jacob though. Like if you could start telling because it's not doing a good job with different characters, or you start thinking like, the performance level's meh, because we're so used to well-produced stuff now, right, Steven? Like we're really not down to settle for anything that doesn't sound good. If it doesn't sound good, I'd put it away and say pick a human. But if it's on par with human performance, then I would 100%. Like, I think that just between the three, we heard a lot of dynamic.
Jacob, what do you think?
Absolutely.
I'm unconvinced, but for a nonfiction book, I would listen to AI no problem, because I think it can do a straight read beautifully. It never struggles with pronunciation and articulation. It's super intelligible. But for a fiction, fantasy, never. Absolutely not.
Really?
No,
Interesting.
it needs that human touch.
Well, so here's a question, because go ahead. See, here's a question: is that AI? We look at AI as this negative thing that could potentially take our jobs. But in the audiobook world, the books come out and the audiobook is available, and they've put the time into it, and they've gone to this great production value. So, like, where does AI fit when it comes to audiobooks? Do we need it? Yes, it could save some money here and there, but I don't think anybody's really racing to try and replace the human read word. On the contrary,
no, quite
they're
the
hiring
opposite.
celebrities.
Quite the opposite. No, it's quite the opposite, actually, because there are so many books that will never, ever be turned into audio. And that's really where AI comes into its own. So AI gives us the ability to get access to books. I mean, there are so many books I can think of that I would love to read, especially local history books, things that will just never be turned into audio. And that being able to happen and using a voice like that could really make the difference. Now, nobody wants to see people go out of work. I certainly don't. I love the fact these narrators exist, but there is another side to this. There are people with hearing problems who may prefer a certain pitch of level. We all have our favorite voices on our screen readers, right? Jacob, Ramya, right? We've got our own voices we like. So being able to pick that voice and say, hey, do you know what? I want Grace as opposed to whoever it was, Charlie, or whoever it was that was doing it. Charlotte, so I'd rather pick that voice over the other. Or, one person could choose to listen with one voice, one person with another. It can really increase the choice and the capability of being able to listen and enjoy those books.
Yep, I totally agree with that. It's basically like a super upgraded version of synth audio, right? Like if I could have it in the palm of my hands where I can pick up an ebook, but instead of using the synth stuff that I'm used to, really upgrade the performance of the screen reader, I guess, and use one of these AIs, then I have access to everything. So
cool, guys. Well, we're out of time. Thank you so much for joining us.
This was fun.
I know, this was fun. Jacob Shymanski and, of course, Ramya Amuthan. I got that pronounced. What was his name? I did it well. Where can they find the audiobook review?
We are on podcasts, weekly episodes, new episodes every week. Just search for AMI Audiobook Review.
Thank you, both of you, for being with us. When we come back, Ryan Bateman's going to be with us. He's the co-founder of AXCon, a convention that's all about digital accessibility, extremely successful, and he is standing by to tell us all about this year's edition. Stick around.
There's more Access Tech Live to come. Get involved and have your say at Access Tech Live on social media. We'll be right back.